SIU Medicine, forward for you.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Hart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Illinois lawmakers are taking steps to regulate synthetic hemp-derived products while simultaneously relaxing operational rules for state-licensed cannabis dispensaries. Tony Kirkman, executive director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, explains that the General Assembly is working to close legal loopholes surrounding Delta 8 and Delta 10 products. The state is now moving to restrict these unregulated substances to keep them out of the hands of minors.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that the General Assembly is trying to address. One of them is the dangers of what we know as Delta 8 and Delta 10 marijuana. And basically, in a nutshell, is the hemp law that was written very, very tightly so that you could still farm hemp, but you could still ban what they would call marijuana. And that's based upon the amount of THC in the chemical that's known as Delta 9. Well, what ended up happening is that there were chemical manipulations that allowed the Delta 9 THC to be reconfigured to a Delta 8, Delta 10, which still had the mind-altering effects of cannabinoids.
Yeah.
So that's why you were able to get some of these gummies sold at vape shops and whatnot. Well, the General Assembly basically said we're going to start putting more restrictions on mind-altering substances so they don't get in the hands of minors. And so that's what they've done.
At the same time, new state rules are expanding retail options for licensed dispensaries, allowing extended operating hours up to 2 a.m., curbside pickup, drive-through service, and the ability to handle security in-house rather than outsourcing. Additionally, the legal possession limit for industrial hemp flower has doubled from 30 to 60 grams.
They've also doubled the amount of possession that a person can have in hemp flower. So it used to be 30, now it's 60 grams. And so for your listeners, think in freezer bags. So you can have up to 2 freezer bags of flower, and that would be the threshold for minor consumption. It allows a designee of somebody that has a medical marijuana prescription to designate somebody to go and pick it up for them. It increases the hours that a dispensary can open. So now they can be open until 2 a.m. They have now allowed dispensaries to be able to have curbside or drive-through accessibility. And they've also said that you no longer have to outsource your security to an outside security firm. You can actually hire within. So I think what they're trying to do is lax some requirements when it leads to rec and medicinal marijuana, but also really trying to tighten up on some of these unregulated Delta 8, Delta 10, and they're looking at kratom, which is a derivative of a synthetic opioid. So they're trying to get some of these deregulated stuff, get a handle on it.
While the expanded dispensary rules aim to streamline business operations, Kirkman expressed concern over increased accessibility. He emphasizes the human brain's prefrontal cortex is not fully developed until around age 25, making youth particularly vulnerable to substance abuse.
We have a lot of prevention services in DeWitt and Piatt County. In fact, we go to every single school in DeWitt and almost every school in Piatt to teach the dangers of underage alcohol and substance use. Because, your viewers know this, the brain, the prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed until about the age of 25. So that affects some of your decision-making, moral compasses, risks, consequences, emotional regulation, all of these things. And I just asked the question of why would you want to put a undeveloped brain to be exposed to mind-altering substances? So I'm a big proponent of prevention work, educating our youth. So, and all of that's my setup for this. What we look at in our communities as two of the largest contributors to underage usage is accessibility and permissive parenting. You know, you're a grown man at 18, come and drink a beer with your dad. That's illegal. It might be a cultural one, but that's still illegal. So if we are really concerned, and I'm not telling anybody how to parent, you do you, right?
Sure.
I'm just telling you what the data says. The data says that if we want to address underage drinking and substance use by minors, we limit the amount of accessibility to the minor. And this is my concern, is that now that you're taking away some of those checks that you may, I'm not saying you will, you may lead to easier accessibility to minors.
For more information on youth substance prevention programs and mental health resources, contact the Piatt County Mental Health Center. The Logan County Fair is underway in Lincoln, bringing a full week of livestock shows, youth project displays, and traditional county fair and grandstand entertainment. Reagan Tibbs, commercial ag educator at the University of Illinois Extension in Logan County, explains the general project show starts Monday morning, featuring entries from Logan County alongside guest exhibitors from Sangamon and Menard counties. Livestock judging begins Tuesday with the rabbit show, followed by swine and goats on Wednesday, and beef and sheep shows on Thursday.
So it officially will start this upcoming Sunday and then go through to the following Sunday. But I think most of the major events start on Monday and Tuesday in terms of grandstand events. For 4-H, though, we're kind of scattered all over the week. So on Monday will be our general projects show. A little bit different this year. We'll have some folks from both Sangamon and Menard County come up for it. We changed our schedule around. And so you'll see some agronomy projects from our other two counties be there, along with a couple other areas. And so that'll be Monday morning, kind of end in an early afternoon part. And then after that, you get to see those projects for the rest of the week. And then we'll get to reach out to those kids if they got promoted to as a state fair delegate or alternate. Then Tuesday is our rabbit show. It's our first live animal show of the fair. That'll happen Tuesday morning. Wednesday, we have our swine show, and then followed by our goat show in the afternoon. Then Thursday is our beef and sheep shows. So they're both kind of running at the same time. So that's really when we kind of have to be all hands on deck, where we have, someone will be over at the beef show, making sure that's running okay. Someone else is over at the sheep show, making sure that's okay. Plus the support we have in the office to get things going through the rest of the week. Then Thursday is our last kind of official day for 4-H events. And then Sunday is our youth auction. So eligible youth who showed either steers, lambs, or barrows, or meat goat wethers get to put one animal in the sale, and we get to raise money for those youth moving forward for their project. So we have a lot of support come out from the community, a lot of people who come out and support those youth, and we're able to raise a lot of money for those young folks to help continue with their 4-H careers.
In addition to traditional judging, Wednesday night features the long-standing 4-H scramble in the grandstands, along with recognition of graduating 4-H seniors. The week concludes on Sunday with the annual youth livestock auction.
Let's rise, or even on Wednesday night we have our 4-H scramble night. So we have our chicken, pig, goat, and steer scrambles, which are kind of a tradition for the Logan County Fair. As long as I can remember, we've had those scrambles out there. So hopefully, last couple of years we've had rain that's prevented us from being out on the track where we host the scramble nights. So hopefully this year the rain will hold off and we're actually able to have those out on the track. And again, get to see all the folks who come out to scramble night in the grandstand to support 4-H, a night dedicated to 4-H. It's not just the scrambles. We also honor 4-H seniors who are graduating from our program. So it really is a wonderful night to celebrate youth and 4-H. So yeah, they do make a very good point about ensuring that our 4-H youth get to be there and have those experiences. Like you said, it's not just a 4-H fair. It's a whole week where we get to celebrate youth and agriculture in our county.
For a full schedule of 4-H judging times, grandstand events, and gate admission details, visit LoganCountyFairIL.com. Also, be sure to tune in for live coverage from the Logan County Fair on Wednesday from WHOW, when we'll broadcast live from 12:20 to 1 p.m. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Agri Talk is the radio talk show for American agriculture. Hi, everybody. I'm Chip Flory, your host. We join you weekday mornings from 10 until 11 on WHOW, on AM and FM, and on the WHOW streams. We provide farmers and ranchers with timely insights and information aimed at improving their operations. Join me, Chip Flory, weekdays at 10:06 on Central Illinois Ag Station, WHOW.
Our local hospitals are the heartbeat of our communities, delivering critical care every hour of every day for everyone, training the next generation of caregivers. Beyond the walls, their benefit to the community is everywhere, driving the local economy and supporting local organizations, initiatives, and neighbors. Illinois Hospitals, healing communities. Learn more at team-iha.org. Sponsored by the Illinois Health and Hospital Association. Aired in cooperation with the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
WHOW is Central Illinois' ag station, and that includes providing farmers information on how the commodity markets close each day and week. I'm Todd Gleason from Illinois Public Media, University of Illinois Extension, inviting you to hear the daily closing market report weekday afternoons at 5:06, and on Saturdays, tune in for Commodity Week with a review of the week's markets at 8:30 in the morning, all on WHOW, AM, FM, and streamed online.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sportswire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Anthony Kay tossed 6 1/3 scoreless innings. Andrew Benintendi, Everson Pereira, and Michael Vargas hit home runs, and the Chicago White Sox beat the AL leading Tampa Bay Rays 9-1 on Sunday.
The Sox won in dominating fashion on Sunday with a 9-1 win over the current number 1 seed in the AL. Anthony Kay pitched 6 1/3 of shutout baseball, and the lone run the Sox gave up came in the 9th while they were already holding a comfortable 9-0 lead. The Sox had 3 home runs today, including this one by Andrew Benintendi to put them up 3 early in the game.
In the first, that scored the first run. He hits a fly ball out in the deep right field, way back there. It is gone. His second home run of the weekend. It is 3-0.
It's an off day for the Sox on Monday. Tuesday, they're in Boston. It's a 6:10 first pitch on that one, 5:30 pregame show right here on the ESPN 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Radio Network.
The Sox are off today, but will be back on WHOW tomorrow as they begin a midweek series with the Boston Red Sox. Pregame for each game in the series begins at 5:30 p.m. Jose Fermin hit a tie-breaking single in the 9th inning, and the St. Louis Cardinals defeated the Toronto Blue Jays 5-1 on Sunday, avoiding a 3-game sweep. Matthew Liberatore pitched 6 shutout innings, and George Soriano, who is 4-3, worked 1 inning for the win as the Cardinals used a 4-run 9th to snap an 8-game losing streak against Toronto. St. Louis won for the 5th time in 17 games since the All-Star break and scored more than 3 runs for the first time since a 7-0 win over Cincinnati on July 25th. Blue Jays closer Louis Varland is 3-4 and walked Mason Wynn to begin the 9th. Wynn advanced to third on a base hit by Brian Torres before scoring on Fairman's line drive single to center. Varland hadn't allowed a run since July 10th at San Diego. 2 outs later, Torres scored on a throwing error by second baseman Luis Urias. Jordan Walker followed with a 2-run single, chasing Varland. The 4 runs off Varland matched the number he allowed in 13 appearances in all of June. St. Louis opened the scoring in the 3rd inning when Nathan Church scored from first on a 2-out double by Lars Nootbaar. Alejandro Kirk's infield single in the 2nd was the only hit off Liberatore. The left-hander walked 1 and struck out 7. The Blue Jays tied it against Soriano in the 8th. Andres Jimenez reached on a 2-out single and stole second before scoring on Urias's double. Blue Jays right-hander Max Scherzer allowed 1 run and 4 hits in 6 innings. Scherzer walked 1 and struck out 5, boosting his career total to 3,512. Cardinals right-hander Michael McGreevy is 4-9 with a 3.57 ERA and is expected to start at New York on Monday against Yankees right-hander Cam Schlittler, who is 10-6 with a 2.04 ERA. Blue Jays right-hander Shane Bieber is 2-2 with a 5.74 ERA and is scheduled to start at Houston on Monday against Astros righty Christian Javier, who is 1-1 with a 7.17 ERA. Jose Caballero lined a 2-run homer. Garrett Cole pitched into the 6th inning, and the New York Yankees hung on to top the Chicago Cubs 2-1 on Sunday. New York got 3 1/3 scoreless innings from relievers Brent Hedrick, Paul Blackburn, and David Bednar to take 2 of 3 at Wrigley Field. Seiya Suzuki finished with 2 hits for Chicago, including a double. Michael Busch had an RBI. Cole is 5-5 and yielded 1 run on 4 hits in his 13th start since coming back from Tommy John surgery. The right-hander struck out 5 and walked 3, but needed a lift from the bullpen. Hedrick relieved Cole with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the 6th and got Nico Horner to fly out. He struck out the side in the 7th. David Bednar entered with 2 outs in the 8th and got Ian Happ to fly out with runners on 2nd and 3rd. Bednar worked around a walk in the 9th for his 24th save. Colin Rea is 8-8 and allowed 2 runs on 3 hits. He struck out 7, including the first 5 Yankees hitters, and walked 1. Caballero, who added a single, ended an 18-game drought without going deep. He lined a 408-foot drive against the wind to left center in the 3rd inning to give New York a 2-0 lead. Suzuki led off the 4th with a double, then scored on Busch's single to cut it to 2-1. Cubs lefty Matthew Boyd is 6-1 with a 3.14 ERA and gets the start as Chicago begins a 3-game series against the Dodgers on Monday. Los Angeles has not named a starter. Yankees right-hander Cam Schlittler is 10-6 with a 2.04 ERA and starts against right-hander Michael McGreevy for the Cardinals. The Chicago Cubs bolstered their rotation on Sunday night, acquiring right-hander Kevin Gausman in a trade with the Toronto Blue Jays. Chicago also traded Jamison Talon and cash to Toronto on Sunday for a player to be named or cash. Talon was designated for assignment by the Cubs last Monday. The durable Gausman, who is eligible for free agency after this season, is 5-10 with a 4.38 ERA in 23 starts. He pitched at least 174 2/3 innings and made at least 31 starts in each of the previous 5 years. The Blue Jays acquired minor leaguers Brett Bateman and Ty Southesine in the deal with the Cubs. Bateman was an 8th-round pick in the 2023 amateur draft, and Southesine was a 4th-round selection in 2024. Bateman, a 24-year-old outfielder, hit .312 with 3 homers, 20 steals, and 33 RBIs in 82 games for AAA Iowa this season. Southesine, a 21-year-old shortstop, hit .326 in 44 games for High A South Bend. And scores from around the MLB on Sunday. The Philadelphia Phillies shut out the Baltimore Orioles 8-0 and only played 6 innings. The Atlanta Braves beat the Washington Nationals 4-2. The Cleveland Guardians blanked the Arizona Diamondbacks 5-0, while the Miami Marlins shut out the New York Mets 2-0. The Cincinnati Reds routed the Pittsburgh Pirates 10-2, while the Houston Astros beat the Texas Rangers 7-3. The Colorado Rockies beat the Kansas City Royals 8-1, while the Los Angeles Angels shut out the Milwaukee Brewers 3-0. The Detroit Tigers routed the Athletics 11-0, while the Seattle Mariners beat the Minnesota Twins 7-6. The San Diego Padres beat the San Francisco Giants 5-4, and the Boston Red Sox beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 8-4. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Here's Hart Media Group owner Matt Hart talking about being in front of our audience on multiple platforms.
This what we call the second screen, right? It's the phone, because now we don't watch television one screen at a time. We're constantly watching two screens. You might be watching the University of Illinois football game on Saturday on your big screen, but you got your phone there. And when a commercial comes on or a timeout comes on, you're watching that second screen. And we want to make sure that we're positioned to be on the second screen, whether it's social media, we want to be there.
Hart purchased the Miller Media Group in Clinton in August of 2025.
From pickups to family vehicles, trust the experts at Walker Tire in Clinton, featuring quality Yokohama tires for dependable performance. We're here to help you find the right tire for every vehicle and every budget. Learn more by clicking our icon on DeWittDailyNews.com.
Longview Community Bank is now open in Clinton, investing in rural Illinois. I'm Vice President Nate Sams. Stop by for a visit or to find out how we provide real local banking. Click our banner ad at the top of the local news page on DeWittDailyNews.com.
It's never too early to start thinking about back-to-school preparations. Part of getting your kids ready for the new school year means making sure they're healthy. SIU Center for Family Medicine is here to help with back-to-school and sports physicals. Healthy kids learn better and play harder. Call 217-735-2317 today to schedule your appointment. That's 217-735-2317. SIU Medicine. Forward for you.
SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Up and down oil prices are down again, dropping after President Trump canceled plans for a large-scale attack on Iran. The president says Gulf allies pleaded with him to hold off. He says that fresh talks with Iran are scheduled for later today. The president's $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund has been formally terminated by Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. The move follows weeks of talks with two Republican senators who had been blocking his attorney general nomination. There's nothing yet on a motive for a deadly attack over the weekend at an Idaho fast food restaurant. 2 people killed, 7 others wounded in the mass shooting at the In-N-Out Burger. Stocks preparing for a higher open this morning on Wall Street. The Dow futures are up 559 points. NASDAQ futures better by 38. The S&P futures are up 38 points as well. This is SRN News.
Imagine getting this kind of news. Karen Collins was in her 20s. She was newly married, and then her husband, Michael, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
And he told me, and I just cried because I didn't really know what the plan was.
There was another fear, too, the medical bills. And thankfully, they were members of MediShare, and MediShare came through for them, and not just financially.
But they called and they said, hey, we know you're going through treatment. We just wanted to call and pray for you. And it rocked my world. And every time they called, it was like, how can we pray for you right now? How are you doing today?
MediShare was a blessing to us because they just made it so easy.
Yes, MediShare can save you a lot of money. But as Karen and Michael discovered, it's also about knowing you're not going through life's hardest moments alone. Call now. See why so many people have made the switch to MediShare. Here's the number. It's 844-45-BIBLE. That's 844-45-BIBLE. 844-45-BIBLE.
From the Hart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local news update. As Central Illinois moves into August, weather forecasters are tracking shifting temperature trends and precipitation chances across the region. Ed Shimon with the National Weather Service in Lincoln explains early August will likely see above normal temperatures before conditions settle towards seasonal averages by mid-month.
Right. Yeah. The 6 to 10 is August 1st to the 5th, and that's above normal temps. And then the 8 to 14 as well is above normal temps, even a tick higher, 60th percentile of above normal temp probabilities there. Precipitation wise is just near normal for the next 2.5 weeks in the outlooks. And then the week 3 to 4 all the way through August 21st starts tipping towards below normal precip and near normal temperatures. So that's not a good sign. So hopefully we can get plenty of moisture in the first couple of weeks of August. But I'm not holding my breath yet. I don't see a lot of options for storms at this point. And when there's a heat signature, it's more popcorn up and down storms, and it's hit or miss. So it's going to kind of be luck of the draw with rainfall, I think, in the next 3 weeks.
Shimon notes August outlooks show equal chances for above or below normal temperatures, with average highs typically stepping down from the mid-80s early in the month into the upper 70s by late August. However, the area will need consistent rainfall to reach its typical monthly average of around 3.5 inches.
Yeah, I've got the August outlook up in front of me here, and it looks like we're right on the edge of above normal temperatures. There's a below normal pocket in the upper Midwest. So roughly equal chances of above or below normal there. And we're normally in August, falling back into the lower 80s to start the month, and then or mid 80s to start the month, and then the upper 70s, I think, as we close out the month. So above normal precipitation is also in there. So that's kind of nice. We do need some moisture in August. Showing that is good because that's typically when we stay dry and hot and just really sap the moisture out of the soil and start, potentially into that fall early, drought conditions, so to speak. So if we can realize, at least normal rainfall, which is roughly 4.5 inches, that'd be good.
Beyond regional forecasts, the National Weather Service is gearing up for the Illinois State Fair in Springfield from August 13th through the 23rd. Shimon explains his staff will provide real-time weather monitoring for fairgoer safety while also hosting an outreach booth featuring educational safety materials for the public. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Mainly sunny skies develop with fog and spots early today, with daytime highs approaching 82. Winds out of the northeast around 5 miles per hour. Mainly clear tonight, lows dip down to about 62. High temperatures reach up to 83. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Currently 68.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4 lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
Hear Clinton Maroon live play-by-play this season on WHOW, the Big 1520 Daytime, 92.3 FM in DeWitt County and 106.5 in Bloomington Normal all the time. Plus streamed at DeWittDailyNews.com, on the WHOW mobile app, and Amazon Alexa. Plus hear a best of Clinton sports broadcast Saturday mornings at 10. All brought to you by the Clinton Sports Boosters, Clinton Community YMCA, and our exclusive sponsor of Timeouts, Connexus Fiber Internet.
Tuning in and listening to the news, hearing what's happening with local views across the country or in my town. I tune in to find out what's going down. Hey, local radio, keeping me informed in my community. Local radio, creates unity.
This is Seth Lawrence, station manager for the Heart Media Group here in Clinton. We take pride in being Clinton and Central Illinois' local radio stations each and every day, 7 days a week. What does local news mean? Here's a sample.
Well, we do appreciate the contacts that were made
And, we do take those seriously.
But yeah, all the chemicals are getting adjusted. One of the big things that we're running into is just staffing with the lifeguard.
What they'll do is that we will come flag your yard for the week before 4th of July, and then we'll come recollect them so you don't have to do anything.
We had a kiddo here that had a replica $100 bill, and I know it's replica without even touching it.
You hear the local people that make the news every day, 7 days a week. Follow WHOW on Facebook and Instagram to see the faces behind the voices and stay connected to your local community on WHOW and WEZC. You're listening to a best of segment of the WHOW Morning Show, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, this is a best of the WHOW Morning Show.
From the Central Illinois, WHOW.
It's the WHOW Morning Show. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom in this segment is Tony Kirkman with the Piatt County Mental Health Center. Tony, it's been a little while since we've caught up. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for taking time for us this morning on the morning show. And on the docket, it feels like there's always something new, going on, especially with the mental health center, always something for you guys to tackle. And of late, that is some new laws regarding public displays of 988 and the crisis hotline. Let's dive into what's going on here, Tony.
Sure. Yeah. So probably the first one to tackle is Senate Bill 2771 was recently signed by Governor Pritzker about a month ago, I believe. It's known as Tamara's Law. And what that has done is it has amended a couple of the different laws that are out there. The County Shelter Care, the Illinois Local Library Act, the Public Library Act, and some assisted living and shared housing acts. And basically what the law is saying is that in public places like county shelters and your local libraries, in assisted living and in nursing homes, those institutions, also even in schools, those institutions are supposed to be providing printable material that can be easily viewed in public access areas to inform those patrons of the services and the accessibility of what is known as the 988 Suicide and Lifeline services offered by the federal government.
Gotcha. So I feel like this goes right along with a lot of those places that you were listing off. What comes to mind for me is mandated reporters. So it seems like there's a lot of similarities there.
Absolutely. So again, we're thinking about individuals where there is a lot of community traffic and trying to engage people of making them aware of, as I've often said to your listeners, feelings aren't good or bad, they just are. And sometimes we have amazing days and some days we don't. And so in those moments where there is a lot of despair or hopelessness or helplessness or just feelings of some severe depression, it's important for individuals to know that there are resources and there are people available that are wanting to serve them 24/7. You can just pick up the phone, you can text, and you would be immediately connected. Here in Illinois, you're connected to a phone bank of licensed counselors that will be able to sit with you through your situation, talk that through, to assess, and if deemed necessary, to dispatch what's called a mobile crisis response team to help further aid you with your mental health journey.
Gotcha. So I feel like, my question rather is, do you feel like this is, obviously it's a step in the right direction as far as accessibility of mental health resources, but is it enough? What does this bring us closer to? What does this mean as far as progress for mental health resources?
Well, speaking, to our listeners here that are in a mostly rural area, I think it's fantastic because time and time again, in both Piatt and DeWitt County, one of the biggest barriers to treatment that we see is transportation. Cost would be right behind that too. So for some of those areas of like, gosh, I'm just thinking like in Lane or LaPlace or Hammond or Wapella, you know, those areas where you don't have a service provider or transportation might be difficult, or you can't make the service hours there, it still doesn't mean that mental health takes a day off. So I think it's vitally important that we resource people. And I'll tell you, like, while the COVID pandemic set us back on a few things, what it did do was launch the necessity and the accessibility of telehealth services, which I'm a huge fan of because while I'm old school and I like to do psychotherapy in a one-on-one physical proximity, telehealth is better than no health. So I think it's extremely vital. I like where we're going with that. And so, you know, the cliche is it's okay to not be okay. It is real. We have feelings, we have ups and downs. And so long answer to probably a short question is I like where we're going. I like that we're resourcing people. I like that we're giving people options because as a psychotherapist, I know that I don't jive with everybody. So if I don't work, I've told a lot of my clients, you know, therapy is like sometimes trying on shoes. Like sometimes they just don't fit. And so find a pair of shoes that fit you so that your walk is a lot easier. Don't quit walking. So choice is good. Access is great.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a phrase that sticks out with me is something my mom always used to tell me is that whether you feel like you are, for quote unquote, doing well or not doing well, everyone should be in therapy. I'm just kind of curious how that sits with you.
Oh, 100%. Because here's what happens. We see the world. We only have two eyeballs. We see the world through those two windows and we interpret it through our experience. Now, our feelings are 100% real, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're